So imagine, if you will, it's 1979. You're an 11-year-old boy. Some of us will identify with that, some of us won't. Um, so you and two other friends who live on your street um, have what we used to call a dingle in the backyard, which is essentially a gully carved through clay, right? And it's carved by streamlets cutting through clay. So we have, I'd say probably a 40-foot deep dingle. And the three of us, all 11 years old, have the wonderful idea that, this is the summer. This is the absolute summer for us to do something awesome. So, does anyone have any rope? Turns out we all have rope. So, we got 2 or 3. Well, I'm trying to remember the exact footage, but I don't. But essentially, we tied together 3 sets of rope between 50 and 70 feet long, and we tied it to the tree on one side of the dingle, went down the dingle, climbed up the other side of the dingle, tied the rope around a tree on the other side of the dingle, a little bit higher than the first side. And then we looped a D-ring over the rope. And the idea was we would just slide across the rope, across the dingle, 40 feet in the air, probably take, 5-10 seconds to slide all the way across, especially with a good running start. And, we couldn't decide who was going to go first because, like Chippendale, no, you first, no, you first, no, you first. Finally, I said, don't tell my mother, I'll go first. So we loop on the D-ring, and we've got a little rope hanging off of it, so I'm hanging out of the rope. I take this good running jump, sliding across the tied together ropes. You ever notice how when you tie a knot, there's like a lump in the rope? Dale's laughing. I can see he already knows what's going to happen. So here I am, 70 or so feet out, 100 and whatever feet across, and I'm in the middle, and the D-ring hits the knot, the first knot. And of course, there I am, 40 feet in the air, hanging off a rope on a rope tied between 2 trees. And of course, now the ropes are starting to sag. So, it starts on one side, and then there's me down at the bottom, and then the rope goes back up on the other side. So I'm stuck there, whether I'm hooked on that knot or not. I didn't mean to say it that way, but yeah. So probably for 5 or 6 minutes, I'm hanging onto that rope, yelling at them yelling at my 2 friends to go get another rope from wherever, and try to figure out a way to pull me back to the side that I started out at. And the 2 of them basically looked at each other and said, "Don't let go," started laughing and ran away. Yep. Kurt and Brian, love you guys. But so there I am. And of course, at this point, it's a fairly small rope. If it's a big rope, it's easy to hold on to, but it was just this little tiny rope, and I'm slowly sliding down the rope. So I'm probably 35 feet above the ground when my 11-year-old grip kind of gives out, and I land flat on my back in the ferns. But luckily, it's clay, right? Because it's a dingle. So I land in semi-wet clay with ferns all around, and the clay is just wet enough that I sink into it a little bit, and I'm kind of stuck, like suction cup to the clay. So I'm down there yelling my head off, where are you guys? Don't tell my mother, get down here and help me up, blah, blah, blah. The 2 of them disappeared, and I finally got myself unstuck and went staggering across the street back to my house. And I'm just like trying to, because my room, so the way the house is set up, you have the door, you go through the kitchen, you go through the dining room, you go down a hallway, and then my bedroom's at the far end. Mom is in there making cookies or whatever, because we were outside playing, and the reward was, cookies later. So I'm trying to slide through the house without her noticing that I'm covered in clay. And I may have pressed myself against the wall to slide by her through the kitchen and across the front of the fridge and around the corner. And I made it, and then I backed down the hall to my room, smacking full body into my door, which was shut. Open my door, go in, change clothes, run back outside, not noticing that there's this clay streak down the wall, across the fridge, and the full body clay impact of an 11-year-old boy on my door. I did not tell my mom what happened. I did, however, have the privilege of cleaning it up later that evening. But yeah, so just, if you're going to slide on a rope 40 feet up across a dingle, don't tell mom.